Ever since I was a young boy, I've been playing video games. To me, many of the mechanics and intricacies of video games are like a second language, and I would often struggle to understand what it was that so many people found intimidating about trying them. It truly seemed incomprehensible to me how someone could struggle with what I consider to be basic video game mechanics. This changed about 5 years ago when, alongside a growing fascination with difficult video games, I also stumbled upon what is perhaps now the most popular YouTube analysis of the challenges that non-gamers face when trying video game series for the first time, that being Razbuten's Gaming for a Non-Gamer series. His efforts to examine his wife's struggles proved to be highly enlightening, allowed me to view video games through a new lens, highlighting things that I had never even considered before. Now, I'm not going to say that I agree with all of his conclusions, but it proved pretty substantial in a way that I often find myself coming back to some episodes to reacquaint myself with what he says. However, there's something that he said that has always stuck with me in the back of my mind. Towards the end of the first episode, he mentions,
"For a better understanding of how inexperienced players approach video games, I need to run a much wider and more complex study that tests in a more robust way than just sitting down to watch my wife play video games a few times."
It's true. In any experiment, having a larger sample size is almost always going to be better regarded than one with only a few. In a way, this opens the door for others to begin carrying out their own informal experiments, using different subjects to see what difficulties they encounter and what was behind their struggles. With that in mind, the question became who would be willing to participate and what type of games I would have them try. After spending some time weighing my options, I eventually settled on a relative of mine, who stated she wishes to remain anonymous at the moment, who has seen people play video games but has rarely played any herself. I was worried at first that her experience watching others play games might mean that she might show too much familiarity with basic video game mechanics, but, as you'll soon see, I don't have to worry about that. Now, I had to decide what game to start her with. I needed to pick something that wouldn't prove to be too much of an obstacle, but that would also challenge her in several key areas. Additionally, I wanted, at least for the moment, to stay away from games that were already covered by Razbuten. Not that there's necessarily a problem with that, but more to keep the content fresh by not having to reiterate points he's already made. After pondering for some time, as well as writing up a list of potential games to cover, I finally settled on a game that seemed to fulfill all those criteria: Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts is quite a famous franchise at this point, with many games that use an unusual blend of Disney and Final Fantasy characters. I've also seen it referred to as a kids game, and while I had an initial negative knee-jerk reaction to that statement, I did realise that I'd first played it when I was a kid myself. Additionally, while we often associate the idea of kids media with being easy and simple, the truth is that they can often be surprisingly challenging and tough to handle. As for how far she would go in the game, I decided to set the goal as the completion of Destiny Island, the opening area in the game. While this does mean that several later mechanics will go unaddressed in this video, I thought this would give me enough material to analyze and discuss, and oh boy did it ever, without requiring too much of her time. Anyway, with all of that out of the way, let's see what happens when someone unfamiliar with video games tries Kingdom Hearts. Aside from her reaction to the opening...
Okay, is one of these Cloud?
Nope.
No, okay, who are they?
Oh, that's a highlight right there.
That's the only name I know. So
none of these are Final Fantasy characters yet. We first get a glimpse of her struggle once we're introduced to the tutorial. While much of the opening hours of Kingdom Hearts are set on Destiny Island, the very beginning of the game takes place in a dark void with platforms resembling church windows depicting Disney princesses. As soon as she was given control, she was given an on-screen instruction to begin moving using the left analog stick. Considering that she'd seen video games being played, I was taken aback when she looked down, studying the controller to find the button that matched that on the screen. I would have assumed she'd know something as simple as that, but to be fair, it's not as if when she's watching someone else play that she's looking at what their hands are doing, instead of focusing on the screen itself. This proved to be pretty consistent every time a new prompt appeared telling her how to do something. This would prove to be a problem later for a reason that I didn't foresee, but just be aware that she was looking down every time a new button appeared, and sometimes when she was playing the game normally. When it came time to choose a weapon, she felt obligated to pick the sword because, in her own words...
Okay, so I feel like I need the sword because it's the only thing I recognize. I do not know what you do with the staff, and I don't know what I do with the shield on its own. I mean, how can you do the shield on its own? What use is that?
While the choice itself is rather opaque, as are many within Kingdom Hearts opening, some RPG/JRPG fans may recognize that they are essentially selecting a class to play rather than the actual weapon itself. Of course, she had no way to know this, so she was simply going off of real-world logic. something that we'll see again in the future. I don't know if she got the vibe that she was making this kind of decision, but she did end up going with the shield after reading the text associated with each one. It was also here where her difficulties with jumping began.
Okay, and did it again. I keep forgetting to go for. Oh,
What happened there? I missed.
I jumped over it. Oh my god, that's crazy.
While she easily figured out how to jump, she struggled with moving during a jump, would often find herself going too far or not far enough. Additionally, this is also where her struggle with the camera came into view. At the beginning of the game, she ended up picking automatic camera controls, so I, who always picked manual, wasn't exactly sure how much control she had, but it's clear that she was struggling, which is a common issue with non-gamers in 3D games. Her reaction to controller vibration also tickled me.
Ooh. I don't think I ever held a controller that was
Vibrating?
vibrating like that. Yeah, I didn't know what was happening for a second.
It caused some minor confusion, but I don't recall it causing any issues besides her surprise. The next challenge Kingdom Hearts introduces is actual combat. As with most RPGs, combat is a frequent component of Kingdom Hearts, and failing to learn its fundamentals will make your experience much more unpleasant. Now, beyond her struggle with both moving and fighting at the same time, something that I think most people will notice is that she's not doing any combos. You see, Kingdom Hearts has a combo system that consists of standard and finisher attacks. The most basic variant of this combo consists of 2 standard attacks followed by a finisher. The finisher deals more damage than the standard attacks, so by only tapping the button she was dealing considerably less damage than she should have been. Interestingly, she accidentally did a few combos in the next fight, possibly due to being locked onto an enemy, which as you can see killed the enemies considerably faster, but I had to give her some encouragement afterwards in order for her to do more combos in the future. Something that I've noticed that a lot of non-gamers, and even some consistent gamers, struggle with is the issue of tunnel vision. In most video games, information is restricted to the edges and corners of the screen. I suspect this is to leave the central area clear for the player to see what is happening, but an unfortunate result of this is that those who aren't conscious of this, perhaps who have not developed the instinct to flick their eyes every so often to the often vital information at the sides, will miss crucial information. There's a particular moment coming up that highlights this issue, but for now, observe how she struggles when prompted to open the door.
When Y examine pops up, you can press Y to examine the object in front of you. Oh god, that's not what I meant to do. But there is no Y there at the minute, sure there isn't?
There is.
Well, where's the Y?
Look to your left.
Oh, over there. Oh, right, okay.
This wasn't her only issue on this particular platform. A crate appeared and the game simply told her, you can push large crates. She was clearly confused, as the game hadn't told her to push any particular buttons when pushing the crate. Now, to be fair, I've played a fair few games where there is a specific button you have to press before being able to push things, so the concept isn't unimaginable, but I think the issue here was that she didn't understand context-sensitive actions. In some games, simply approaching a particular spot, sometimes in a particular way, will trigger a reaction that differs from place to place. In the case of the box, all she had to do was to walk against the box, and Sora would automatically start pushing, but she thought she had to hit a particular button instead. We've all seen the cliche footage of gamers mashing the buttons incoherently, but I don't think I've ever seen footage in mainstream media of someone doing a context-sensitive action. Please let me know if there are any. So it makes sense that someone unfamiliar with games would assume every action needed a button press. However, she did eventually figure it out through experimentation and were able to progress. An interesting issue occurred when the game told her to switch to first person mode, showing her a button prompt that she was unfamiliar with. Looking down at the controller she was holding, she couldn't find it anywhere. Now, this unfortunate dilemma was due to the button prompts in the game being made for modern Xbox controllers, while the controller I've been using for a while comes from the Xbox 360 generation. For whatever reason, they changed the symbol representing the select button, and this caused her significant struggle as she searched in futility for the icon on the screen. I encouraged her to experiment, and she eventually figured it out, but this also presented another oddity. You see, your control of the camera is typically done via the right stick, but for whatever reason, this changes to the left stick when you go into first person. Switching these controls seems odd. I do think later Kingdom Hearts games rectified this, but it's fascinating to realize this, as I would often just quickly accept this without much thought. Prior to this incident, there was an issue earlier when she accidentally moved the command bar down to a blank space, preventing herself from being able to attack, and the section afterwards presented a particularly amusing case of this. Speaking of, I best mention what the command bar is. Kingdom Hearts features an unusual combat system that combines the action of real-time RPG battles and the menu navigation of traditional turn-based RPGs. As she was fighting a group of Heartless, she accidentally moved the command bar down from attack and didn't realize this. You see that?
Yeah, I know. Turn around now. Turn around to behind you. Quick, quick. What am I doing? I'm not sure what's happening there. I should be. They're hitting me and I'm not able to hit them. I don't know
This
why.
is brilliant. Magnificent.
Inept. Okay.
Well, no, this gives a lot to discuss, you see.
Okay, okay. Fair enough. Oh god. Come on, what's wrong? Alright, they're hitting me now and I can't see. I don't know why I can't hit them.
When she accidentally fixed this issue, she thought the issue was that she hadn't locked on to an enemy. Before you continue, I just want to ask a question.
Certainly.
So, out of curiosity, what did you think you were doing wrong there? Because at near
I
the
thought
end,
it wasn't locking on.
And you think you couldn't attack because you weren't locked on?
There was some problem. The button wasn't doing what it was supposed to be doing if I didn't log on. Or in this case.
This is a good example of someone learning the wrong lesson when they do something. In this case, locking on, and thinking it had an effect that it didn't have. That being fixing her issue of not being able to attack. This is where we ended our first session, and I think it's interesting that her first response afterwards was to draw a diagram of the controller along with what button does what, not inspiring confidence when it came to facing the first boss of the game, Darkseid.
Okay. Oh no. Oh, don't fall. I have no control at the minute, correct?
Correct, yes. This is a cutscene. I confess that I've never had a particular issue fighting this boss, although he does have some quirks that mean that he isn't exactly a pushover. However, none of this matters since there was one glaring issue, and that was the problem of lock-on. You see, Darkseid, despite being a massive shadowy figure, only has 3 spots on him that can take damage, those being his 2 arms and his head. What she failed to realise was that she locked onto his left arm at the beginning of the battle and, without knowing it, lost control of the camera. This mistake led to a great deal of clumsy movement, and it wasn't helped by her decision to try to go after his legs. In reality, getting hit anywhere in your body will hurt you, although certain spots are more sensitive and more likely to cause serious injury. However, many video games, particularly older games, have bosses where only specific parts of their body can be damaged. Taking all these issues together, it should come as no surprise that she ended up being defeated. Something I wasn't even aware was possible at this point. However, the game continues on regardless, and we finally end up on Destiny Island, the true opening area of Kingdom Hearts. Interestingly, as we were getting acquainted with this area, she impatiently asked what her challenge was. My response was to tell her to be patient and to ask Kairi once we were out of the cutscene. The goal of Destiny Island is to gather items needed for journeying on a raft, and it's actually quite a good tutorial, as the island is filled with various heights that encourage you to learn the movement mechanics of the game, while also featuring no required combat until the very end. I was quite tickled by her thinking that she needed to hit a button to collect the log rather than walking into it, but this, I think, is quite forgivable as this varies between games. As she explored, she gradually figured out her abilities and limitations.
Can I climb a ladder? Do I know how to climb?
I mean, it makes sense that you would ask that question. The concept of it was funny.
Oh, did that now and I don't know how I did it. Oh, I thought I couldn't fall off, but I can fall off. Okay, that's fine. Anyway, I did my thing, so let's go up this ladder. I'm not being timed, am I?
No, you're not.
Thank God. Oh! What? Could I kill myself doing that?
No, fall damage isn't actually a thing in this game.
Okay, I'm going to see if I can get up there. Oh, God. Oh! Hope nothing terrible is going to happen to me here, because I don't know what's going to happen to me here. Save. Oh, that's my save point. Oh, thanks be to God. Wait, I figured the log was here. Okay, do we want to call it a day? Not yet.
Is there anything else you want to do here?
I'm not aware that I need to. We came to get those things, we got them. We'll go home? Or...
Yeah, do you want to call it a day, is what she's asking.
Yeah.
I also thought it was interesting how she was laser focused on her task, completely ignoring the NPCs that were scattered around rather than attempting to talk to them. Regardless, she managed to complete the first day on Destiny Island without too much trouble, and she immediately rectified this by talking to Selphie as soon as the next day started. Perhaps it was because she hadn't been given another task yet that she felt more inclined to interact with them, but this led to something that she'd avoided previously: combat.
Okay, what do I have to do here? Oh, Genie, I have to avoid him, is it? What, do I do anything with him? I'm not going to attack him, am I?
While optional, you were able to fight most of the NPCs on Destiny Island, and while searching for what she should be doing, she ended up fighting Waka.
Oh God, he's going to kill me. Don't kill me. How do I stop him? I'm gonna attack him. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, but I'm just going to hit him anyway. Oh my God, I'm nearly dead. Oh my God, and I can't save myself. Panic.
Besides her clumsiness with combat in general, the fact that she started with Waka was unfortunate, as he's the hardest of the 3 Final Fantasy characters you could face. His gimmick is that he throws his ball at the player and does a quick, almost impossible to dodge spin attack when you get too close to him. What you are meant to do is to parry the ball and send it back to him, damaging and stunning him. The problem with this is, as far as I'm aware, the game never teaches you this mechanic. As a kid, I remember having the strategy guide for the game, and it explaining how to parry Waka's balls back at him, but I'm not sure if I'd have figured it out had I been playing it on my own. The intention seems to be to have the player learn this technique while fighting the Destiny Island battles, as they feature several attacks that reward parrying at the right moment. She even parried Waka a couple of times without knowing, although she failed to recognize what she had done. I decided to teach her how it works since she had done it without knowing, but it is an interesting choice on the part of the developers, particularly since these battles are optional and can easily be skipped. Considering her difficulty with Waka, I thought it might be good for practice as well as confidence to try fighting Tidus and Selphie, who are quite a bit easier. She managed to defeat Tidus on her second go, although I will admit that she had leveled up her defense while fighting Waka, making it so that she took significantly less damage from Tidus. Despite some oddities...
Oh!
Wow.
That's hilarious, sorry.
And she actually can't hit you there,
No,
oddly.
no, that's hilarious. Sorry, I have to drop now and she's going to be on my way.
I heard you giggle, so I looked up. Because
I
I was
wasn't
like...
expecting that to happen, in fairness.
She managed to defeat Selphie on her first try. Since I'd shown her how to fight Waka, she technically unlocked the ability to fight the 3 of them at once, but there was no way I was going to have her struggle with that at the moment. Interestingly, once I stopped telling her to fight the others, her attention immediately latched onto the secret place. She had been here the previous day, but I think she was drawn to it from the conversation with Waka.
Me and Tidus, we are gonna do a little exploring today. You know, to the secret place at the base of that tree.
Oh, okay. Now the tree is relevant.
Gotta be something there, yeah?
While I eventually was forced to tell her to get away from the door, which she'd understandably become fixated on, she accidentally walked over the mushroom which triggers the cutscene within the secret place. Considering that we hadn't even been told to collect these yet, I was actually surprised that you could activate the scene before talking to Kairi again. Regardless, I had to encourage her to go back outside and explore to find the next task. It didn't occur to her to go back to where Kairi had been, so it was only by chance that she happened to walk through the door that she had been blocking previously. I think the intention of the developers was that players would go back looking for Kairi and find that she was no longer there, but this didn't seem to occur to her. Now, we get to one of the more awkward tasks to complete on Destiny Island: the race against Riku. Let's be honest, folks. This race is not easy. It requires that you be at the very least comfortable with the movement mechanics of Kingdom Hearts, something that hasn't really been tested until now. I knew there was no chance of her succeeding, but I was still awed by her attempt.
Oh dear. Oh! I didn't know there was a hole there.
But then the more fascinating thing that I'm noticing is when you're jumping, you're stopping.
Yes, I am.
What's the deal with that?
I'm just afraid that I'll fall in. I'm literally fearful.
You see, this is the long way round, so if you're trying to win the race, it isn't recommended to go up this way, but it is a
At
way to
least
go
I
up.
can tag. Oh, flipping hell.
Could you just elaborate again?
On the... Oh, I am stopping.
Yeah, before you jump.
Because I'm just fear I'm going to do it wrong and then I'll fall down and then I have twice as much work to do.
But don't you think that's kind of happening because you're stopping?
Possibly. See, I've fallen down again because I tried to keep going without stopping. Oh, they're not serious. What am I doing wrong there? I suppose if I'm not running, I have no momentum. Is that what's happening?
That's part of it, yeah. You can
Okay.
go further if you are running while you jump.
Oh!
You're still up there.
Oh, God. Barely. Oh, my God. That's hilarious. Sorry. Wait, oh. Wait, cheat.
Well, yeah, you didn't jump.
I know. I was just afraid he'd fall off.
You didn't fall, technically.
No, I didn't. I was trying to.
Riku and Kairi are probably back at the beginning going like, what is he doing?
Just about to fall again. Okay.
So if you go over to that tree now, you might want to check if there's a gap. I actually can't remember if there's a gap.
Let's say there's a gap.
Well, touch it so that it... You see, I'm usually doing this so...
Oh.
Oh, there we go, finally. Okay, so now you've touched that, which means you can go back to the beginning. I don't think you can...
Oh.
Well, you went kind of left there.
I did. No, I'm climbing the tree.
You are, yeah.
Does that do me any good?
Later on in the game it does you good, but here, not so much. So you should be able to jump up here.
Okay. I tried that already. It didn't work. Maybe I'll come back
Can
a
I try?
bit. Oh, how do you do that one? Okay.
Okay, actually, what I'm going to do is... Oh, you got it.
Okay.
I was just about to say, I'm going to look at your controller rather than the screen, so I could
Yeah.
tell what's going on. So is there a reason you're not trying to jump up there?
From here?
Yeah.
Oh, good God. Would never make it, would I? Where's the lowest bit of it? Okay. Oh,
Well, those were the highlights of the 12 minutes it took her to finally finish the race. I knew she wouldn't win, but I was impressed at how long it took her even to finish. Still, I decided to see how she'd do a second time, and she did show significant improvement, with her only taking a minute and a half. While she ultimately didn't manage to defeat Riku, I was happy to see such improvement in a relatively short amount of time. I pushed her on to Kairi, who gave her an intimidatingly long list of items to collect.
oh, she wants a seagull egg. 3 mushrooms. 2 coconuts. Oh my God, I have to write this down. I can't even remember what it was now. Can I get the list again?
Tell you.
3 fish, 2 mushrooms.
3 mushrooms.
3 mushrooms, 3 fish. How many coconuts?
I think she said 2, was it?
Yeah, what was the other one?
Was it 1 seagull egg?
Seagull egg, yeah. That it? No,
Like
I don't know
that.
if she finishes. Oh, and I want drinking water as well.
She'd spotted a mushroom during the race, so she quickly picked that up, but gathering the other items proved to be more laborious. She found herself by some trees and logically thought that they'd be the source of the coconuts. She also spotted the seagull egg and thought that it might be a coconut. She eventually decided to strike the tree in the hope that it would knock the quote-unquote coconut down, and lo and behold, a coconut did fall down. She was overjoyed at having worked it out, only to be confused and disappointed by what came next. She couldn't pick it up. To explain, the coconuts that Kairi is looking for are yellow in colour. Does the game tell you about this? No. Again, I think my strategy guide told me which coconuts I had to get, but I do think the game fails to explain why yellow coconuts rather than brown. It's certainly strange, and I could understand why she found it frustrating, because this was one of the few times I intervened and explained what the game wanted from her. It's quite bizarre in hindsight, and I do wonder why the developers made this choice. Anyway, she collected her coconuts and moved on to collecting fish. She dove, or more like fell, into the ocean, and began swimming out, searching for the fish. This is when she hit her first invisible wall. She realized that she was not getting any further out and had to explain the limitations and why it was there. While these invisible walls often frustrate players, it was interesting to see that she was actually reassured by this, as she had been afraid that she'd swim too far out and not be able to get back. She eventually managed to find the fish, and her attention returned to the quote-unquote coconut, asking whether it could be an egg. Upon reaching the tree, she attempted to climb it, which didn't get her to the top, and she began wondering whether she had to jump down to it by climbing up the building beside us. However, it's notable that she did figure out the correct solution on her own, to climb the taller, thinner tree beside it and hop down from there. With that, we handed our items to Kairi and we were onto the final section of Destiny Island. Destiny Island is now within the middle of a storm, and the Heartless have returned. Armed with her wooden sword, she was unable to fight the Heartless, with her attacks bouncing off each time she tried to attack. Given that she was near the end, I pushed her to run away from them. Amusingly, her first instinct was to run to the secret place, which was now blocked by an ornate door. Upon interacting with it, she learned that she needed to find Riku first, but didn't know where he was and was scared to stop and look around since the Heartless were continuing to chase her. She ran around for a while, but eventually spotted him and made her way over. After the cutscene, she gets the Keyblade, the signature weapon of the franchise, and is finally able to fight the Heartless. After fighting through some of them, she went back to the secret place and passed through the door, leading to what would become the ultimate test of her skill, a rematch with Darkseid. Whereas the game continued when she lost before, she was now required to fight and ultimately defeat Darkseid.
Oh hell, Jesus, I'm gonna do this.
Besides a severe lack of confidence in her own ability to win, the camera again proved to be a struggle for her, as she attempted to move around and comprehend Darkseid's large size. She's aware of the fact that lock-on had proved to be her downfall during the last battle, but she began to spam the lock-on repeatedly, constantly locking on and then unlocking. This seems to be a mix of having forgotten the control for switching targets and panic from the situation, and had to reassure her that she could win this battle while also reminding her how to switch targets. A lot of the battle, which proved to be quite long and grueling, was spent killing the Heartless that Darkseid spawned in order to gather the health orbs that dropped and hiding from his attacks. This unwillingness to be aggressive stretched the fight out to just under 10 minutes, and she became frustrated when I tried to offer her advice about where to hit Darkseid, how to move the camera, or just the target she was locking onto. Still, she did manage to defeat this version of Darkseid in her first attempt, thanks to the increase in defense she got from fighting earlier, and an increase in strength in the middle of the fight. With that, Sora was transported to Traverse Town, and we were finally done with Destiny Island. Among the many things that there are to take away from this experience, perhaps the most interesting to me is the fact that someone merely watching others play games does not translate to an ability to actually play them. Besides struggling with the controller itself, it's also likely that the tunnel vision issue applied to all the other times she's watched people play, perhaps ignoring the UI and button prompts in favor of watching what's happening in the center of the screen. This is understandable, but I feel like many gamers might overlook this issue, just as I did. However, I think perhaps her biggest issue when it came to playing Kingdom Hearts was her inability to comfortably control the camera. I let her pick automatic camera controls in the hope that this would alleviate potential issues, but it also resulted in me struggling to help her in some situations due to the fact that I always play on manual. In a 3D environment, it's of vital importance for the player to be able to understand their surroundings, to see details that will help guide them, allow them to make informed decisions. Being unable to do this will make things frustrating, and if someone who doesn't play games finds their experience to be a frustrating one, it seems likely they will just give up. Kingdom Hearts may be a kid's game, but it certainly isn't the easiest starting point for someone's foray into games. Still, I'm delighted by some of the improvements I saw throughout her playthrough, with the Riku race being a clear highlight, improving from 12 minutes to a minute and a half over only 2 tries. It, in many ways, has proven to be a perfect start to this potential series of informal experiments. I've already written up a variety of games and genres that I want to have her try. Hopefully you have enjoyed listening to my observations and watching her struggles, and I want to hear your thoughts about all this. What do you think about the issues that she struggled with? Do you have any ideas about how camera controls could become more intuitive and natural, or do you think it's a skill that has to be acquired? Did you like the format of this video? Finally, do you have any suggestions on games and genres that I should have her try in the future? Thank you for watching, and remember to try to understand the struggles that people have when playing video games for the first time. Consider subscribing to the channel, liking the video, and checking out some of our other content. That's correct, yes.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, I've learned to jump in the water.